right, welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. Today we are debuting a new intro, so check this one out.
Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
Y'all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
It's Division I football! It ain't intramurals!
All right, and we're back, the Hoppy Huddle podcast. I'm Jake, that's Ed, that's our new intro, and boy, college football season keeps getting closer. I know it's been a couple weeks, and we're happy to have you all here. I'm starting to get excited, man. It's creeping
like
up on us. We got media days.
Christmas, man. It's like we see the presents. The tree is up. We're almost there.
We're getting closer. We're getting media days. We're getting smack talk from the players. We're getting shenanigans, tomfoolery, some might say.
And the propaganda machine has been out the last few days. Oh my gosh, it's dripping from the SEC. Ugh. Yeah.
It's funny. It is funny. It's, to be fair though, it's not the whole SEC. It starts at the top. It's stuff Sankey says is kind of ridiculous. But some of the coaches are not as bad. Like, I know a lot of the coaches are not quite as insane as some of the stuff that the administrators push
nothing. They're just repeating.
You're telling me they say nothing at media days? What? That never happens. It's media days. They're gonna say nothing.
We need the games. I mean, nothing is happening. Nobody's interesting. I'm not even sure the purpose of this at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the purpose of it is to kill time and to get interviews with all the reporters and to drum up hype for their conferences. And so this is just kind of what happens in the dead period. We got analyzing coach golf scores. We got fishing trips. We got everything that's happening in college football that has nothing to do with college football.
Hey, aren't we important enough to get media passes at this point, or we still got to get?
Yeah, where's our media pass?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind coming down there and asking a few questions. We're going to get there someday. The Hoppy Huddle we'll get to
it'll
SEC
happen.
Or Big 12 Media Day. So
it's going to happen for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think to get us talking about the upcoming season and less about the fluff, today we're gonna talk about our top 10 some of the best games that we're looking forward to this season. There's a lot to choose from. There's so many games. We're gonna leave some out. We're gonna discuss it, but there's just some matchups where you're just looking at it like a DiGiorno's pizza in a commercial, like, oh, so good. And then some of them are going to be really good, and then some are going to not be good. But you know what? We don't have any games right now, so all we can talk about is future games. And
and when we talked about doing this as a topic, I said, this will be easy, putting together 10 games. And so I started making my list. I went week by week. And at the end, I had 66 games that I had to start with. So then I had to narrow my list down. I mean, this is it, folks, 66. Hear that paper? I mean, I'm so ready for the season to begin. So then to narrow down to 10 was actually kind of hard. But I think I found 10 games that I'm really excited about. Now I'm excited about all 66. Who are we kidding here? But I think I picked out 10 games that I'm particularly interested in seeing. And I think they're kind of spread out through the year, and they involve different matchups. And so I kind of had my method, Jake. I don't know what your method was, but
my method is just kind of random, whatever I felt like.
Okay. Well, so how do you want to do it? Do you want to go from your 10 to 1 for your ranking? Did you rank them that way, or?
I just picked 10. I couldn't do the differences between some of them. I just picked 10 in general. Okay. So we can just start picking ones at random. And if one that you have is on mine or one that I have is on yours, then we can discuss that. Okay.
I'll start at number 10 on my list. Okay.
Okay.
Number 10 on my list, which may shock some people. And by the way, I have them by a little bit. I'll tell you what weeks they're playing in. In week 8, and that is October 18th, I have SMU at Clemson. Now, that is one that may not make your list. Did it make your list?
It did not make my list. Now, okay. I did see it. I didn't note it, but I think the reason it didn't make my list is because I'm just not that high on SMU this year.
Yeah, and I appreciate Reed talking about my credentials. Thank you, Reed. I did do the homework.
Yeah, we will credential Ed. Don't worry, it's gonna happen
right.
someday.
I it'll be interesting when we get into the previews to talk about SMU. But at this point, let's remember this is a returning play. This is a playoff team that was in the playoffs last year. And I think this could be a battle for, one of the potential top spots in the ACC championship. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that sort of rematch. Remember, SMU had them dead to right. Clemson rallied in the ACC championship game, and I think this is going to be one of Clemson's tests. Now, it's going to be at Clemson, so I expect Clemson to win. We expect Clemson to be maybe a national title contender. Hang on to our first week in August. We'll be talking about previewing the ACC. So this is number 10 on my list of games that I'm really kind of interested in seeing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'll be interested to watch that game. That's at Clemson, right?
It is at Clemson.
Yeah, I just think, I kind of think that's kind of be one of those games that Clemson's going to win, especially because SMU, they're not returning a whole lot off their really good defense, especially up front last year. So that's the reason that didn't make my list. But I hope it'll be a good game. Kevin Jennings is still back. Kate Klubnik's still back. The offenses will be humming, and I'm definitely excited for that. It's not one where I'm like, I can't watch that one. But
okay.
Well, let's. I'm gonna hop off right in week 1 where I have a fairly obvious choice: Texas at OSU. I mean, can you get any bigger than this? It's arguably like the two of the biggest brands in college football. Texas traveling to Ohio State, Arch Manning, like what Julian's saying. What else? Jeremiah Smith. You can't hype this game enough. It will maybe be, in my opinion, one of the most viewed games outside of the Ohio State Michigan game. It may be the highest viewed non-conference game of the entire season. Just two insanely talented teams, incredible offenses, the coaching stories, Ohio State fresh off the national championship, Texas still trying to get there. What else is there to even say about that game?
Well, yeah, and that was number 3 on my list, so it was pretty high up there. The only reason it didn't get higher is my issue with this game, and I agree, all those things you said, this is going to be a great game to start the season. You and I are going to be in the central time zone when that game happens. It's going to be 11 a.m. That's my number one issue. 11 a.m. kickoff for you and I on a Saturday morning. That's not my favorite. Second thing is, man, this feels like this should be a week 5 or week 6 or week 7 game when these teams have moved along a little bit. I mean, this is going to be Julian Sagan's first start, Arch Manning's first start, not Arch Manning's first start, his first full year as a starter. But, you would like to see these offenses and defenses a little bit more, fine-tuned, ready to go in the season mode. I just don't know we're going to get, the best of those teams in week 1, which is a shame because I would love to see that matchup later in the year. That's why it wasn't number 1 or 2 on my list.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, especially if one of the offenses stalls early and doesn't get going. It might not be as interesting as it could have been. That may very well be a national title preview game. It could be one of the first and last games of the season. So
it could, and it just means, but we maybe see better. But those two teams may be better at the end of the year than they are at 11 a.m. on August 30th. I mean, that's my issue.
That's true.
Well, all right, let's stay with that week because that week one slate's awesome. First of all,
it's
we get a Friday night game, Auburn and Baylor, which didn't make my top 10. But just as a great non-conference starter game on a Friday night.
Yeah. I've got the shirt. Yeah, and I have a feeling we hear a little bit more about that game as we get closer. And then you got another game, a Sunday night game, Notre Dame and Miami that weekend, which is always great to have a Sunday night game Labor Day weekend. That is an awesome matchup. Catholics versus Convicts is back, baby.
Yeah, that isn't in my top 10. But there's another game that weekend that is in my top 10. That's number 4 on my list. LSU at Clemson.
Yeah, that's on my list as well.
Now, here's the deal with that one. LSU's been dreadful in these season openers. They lost last year to USC, which wasn't a great USC team. The previous 2 years, they lost to FSU, 2 consecutive years. LSU needs this victory. Clemson, I mean, they have high expectations this year. And I think this is a big game for both those teams right out of the gate. And again, we may not get the best of both those teams to start the season, whereas we might get better teams in week 8 or 9. But man, that's an important game. I mean, so what a Saturday that sets up for us to watch. Texas, Ohio State, and then LSU, Clemson. I'm not even sure we need anything else that Saturday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I have Notre Dame, Miami on my list.
You got 3 of the top 10 games on one weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's kind of strange because you would like it to be maybe a little more spread out, but also it's like, wow, what a weekend, right? Yeah. So my reasoning for having Notre Dame, Miami there is I kind of have like 2 to 3 Notre Dame games that were debated on this list, and you could kind of Notre Dame USC is one, Notre Dame Miami is another. You kind of I picked one. I picked this one because of the Notre Dame and Miami haven't played in a while. Miami with the new quarterback Carson Beck, a lot of storylines there. Miami's on the up. Notre Dame national title game appearance. Obviously the rivalry there, renewed. I think it'll be great. I think Miami will have. This will be one of the few times when Miami will have a huge home crowd, which, sounds crazy for any other team. But for Miami, a huge home crowd is a big deal because they don't get that very often. But with Notre Dame there, they'll pack that place. So, I'm just excited. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. And I want to see how the new offense for Miami runs.
Yeah, and if Carson Beck shows up and shows out, that's going to say a lot for that Hurricane team. And all of a sudden, their expectations will be through the roof, because they're the one team that probably has talent on both sides of the lines to compete with Clemson. So I think it's a lot.
That's true.
Do you have the playmakers with Beck that can compete with Clemson and really also compete nationally? Because we know they've got playmakers elsewhere on the line.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
all right. Well, let me go to my number 9. We're going to go jump back in the later in the season, week 12, November 15th. We know these two teams will be fighting for probable playoff spots, but I've got Texas and Georgia. Probably competing for the SEC. Yeah. That's just a big time matchup. Were they on your list, Jake?
Absolutely, they were on my list. Yeah.
At that point, it would be shocking if both those teams aren't 1 loss, 0 losses, max 2 losses. Don't know. I mean, certainly was high expectations for Texas. There's no reason to look at their schedule and think they were going to lose too many games. Georgia, they're rebuilding that offensive line, a lot of young talent. I think Gunnar Stockton is just a Jag plus. We can get into that in the previews. Arch has got the real talent, but is Georgia all these young players for Georgia, are they going to step up? That'll be interesting to see. By week 12, we'll know probably a better answer.
Yeah, I agree. I think by that point, that may decide the winner of that may be going to the SEC championship game, almost certainly. I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening. It'd be revenge for last year. Can Texas avenge that loss where Georgia came in and beat them? Can they go in
twice?
Yeah. Jag plus. That's a phrase from the Cover 3 podcast that I think just another guy, but a little bit more,
a little bit plus, just a little plus. So.
Just another guy plus. Texas, Georgia. The defense for Texas is something that may be going under the radar with Arch sucking up all the attention. Texas got some incredible defenders. Can Georgia's offense keep up with that will be one of the questions.
All right,
go back to my list. I think I've got another Miami game. I've got Florida at Miami week 3.
Okay.
And this is because by this point, that game is going to be huge for both Florida and Miami. I forget, who does Florida play early? They play
yes, they play they play LSU. We'll get to that in a minute.
Right. They play LSU early. So Florida's play LSU, Miami's played Notre Dame. Odds are one of them comes into that game with the loss, right? Both of them have huge high expectations. And then maybe both of them come in with a loss. And in that case, it's a do or die mode. So I just think the converging storylines and the location of that game, in the season, makes it really interesting for a lot of fan outrage. Well, I don't know if Miami really has the schedule to have 2 losses by week 3. I don't know about that, Reed, but I do think that it just shapes up to be a really good matchup. I think Florida last year, Miami had the better offense. this year Florida may have the better offense and Miami the better defense. So it'll be interesting to see, especially if Miami's edge rusher, what's his name, is really tearing it up. It'll be a good matchup for sure.
You're leading into that game, and I thought about that game, but I'm going to go week ahead, week 3, where Florida plays at LSU. And to me, that is the number one most interested game of the season. And
Really?
Yes, without a doubt. Because at that point, Florida's going to play 2 cupcakes to open the season. They're going to be playing the JV teams, and getting DJ warmed up. LSU may or may not have a loss depending on Clemson. But that game, counting up Bethune, yes, I am.
Yeah, we are.
Yes. But that game is so critical to both teams because if Florida, who's 2-0 at that point, can go down to LSU and beat LSU. Remember, they beat LSU at home last year. If they beat LSU, then that Florida team is going to be for real, and and they may be unstoppable. They may be onto a great season because that means DJ's going to have put everything together, and they put things together offensively and defensively, and that means LSU's in trouble and deep crap. Okay, is what it could be. LSU wins that game, then you're setting it up, and maybe Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier have got this thing figured out defensively. I think that game has the biggest potential early on to set the tone for 2 organizations. I think the loser is behind the 8 ball and then it's got to dig themselves out of a hole. And again, I've looked at these schedules. Florida could lose that game and still be okay because we're going to talk about another game down their schedule. But they've got 3 games between LSU, Miami, and Texas. They've got to go 2-1 in that stretch to make their season.
Tall order.
It's a tall order. It can be done with DJ. DJ is an NFL caliber superstar. And you can do it. They go 1-2 and they start off with a loss at LSU. That's a tough matchup. But that is on my list. That is the game I'm most interested in to see this season because I think it's going to tell us the most about those two teams that I think have playoff aspirations and can put it together talent wise. But it could go opposite directions too. Both those coaches can be gone by the end of the year if they don't make it.
Yeah, that's not a bad inclusion. I actually didn't have that on my list. I had it on the honorable mention. I recognize its importance, but I'm not sure. I kind of think like both teams could end up middling by the end of the season.
Possibly.
And that's probably where I'm at with those teams, at least currently. And that's why I kind of don't have it in the top 10. I focused a lot on more of some of the huge preseason brand matchups.
Sucker for the big names and the brands. I'm talking about storylines.
Nobody appreciates the small schools more than me. Don't get me that. Dude, I will be dialed in to Boise State and I will be dialed in to Tulane and Maction on Tuesday. Don't discount me.
All right,
but we're choosing the best games. Yeah, if we were choosing my favorite games, Backyard Brawl would be on this list, okay? But it's not. It's not my favorite. It's the biggest, best games. And because of that, I'm going to also throw on the list Oregon at Penn State.
That's number 2 on my list.
Okay, so we have a little bit of agreement there.
Yes.
Oregon, Penn
why.
State.
I've got my reasons why. Why is that a big game for you this year?
So Penn State, yeah, sellout allegations. Yeah, thank you. Sure. Everybody knows, Jake. I've sold out to big media. Oregon, Penn State.
No, he's going to tell us how good the SEC is on ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll see me plug in the SEC new intro song featuring Bailey Zimmerman.
Him and Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah. Where's Kirk's dog? Is he around here somewhere?
If Jake gets a dog, we know we're in trouble.
If my dog starts showing up on this podcast, you know I've sold out. I'm just gonna put that out there. Hold me to that. If I ever co-host this podcast with a dog, you'll know I'm gone.
Okay. All right. Back to Oregon, Penn State.
What was I talking about? Oregon, Penn State. So Penn State is getting a lot of hype going into the preseason. Some people even putting them as their number 1 team. I think this is a classic case of Penn State Kool-Aid, where every year Penn State goes 10-2, 9-3, and we're always like, oh, but next year they're going to upgrade to the next level. They've got a tall quarterback who can really sling the ball. That has never happened before. No. I think Penn State will be okay, but I think a real test will be Oregon at Penn State week 5. I think this is probably, Oregon's most difficult game on their schedule because they don't get Ohio State this year, do they? Pretty sure they miss Ohio State.
Yeah, I think they miss Ohio State.
So Oregon, it's a long travel. We did see last year a kind of correlation with teams that traveled super long distances to some more losses. So that's a tough travel for Oregon. Remember, they got to land and then drive there because the airline, the plane landing spots are not long enough to get the team jets into college, into Penn State. And yeah, so I'm excited. I think Oregon with Dante Moore and the talent they've got there, this is one of their highest blue chip ratio teams that Oregon's ever had. A lot of unproven underclassmen though. I think Penn State's the opposite. They've gone old. They've brought back a bunch of guys. And so it'll be a clash of styles versus a lot of, at this point, it's pretty proven, but like going into the season, sort of unproven sophomore and freshman talent that haven't played a whole lot, but extremely talented versus Penn State, which maybe is a little less talented, but they have a ton of experience coming back. They've got, obviously maybe the best running back core in the country. Drew Allar is at the quarterback who's getting a lot of NFL hype. So I'm excited to see Dante Moore in that environment. I think will tell us a lot about how Oregon can stack up against some of the better teams. Tough environment. That'll be a whiteout if unofficially, even if it's not a real whiteout because TV rights or whatever. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that game?
I think you're wrong on Penn State. I think they're better than you think. I think they are a national title contender.
I think they're good, but
I think they're a national title contender. We'll get to our preseason predictions in August, but I think they're better than you think. And I think that's why this game is most interesting to me this year is to see, one, James Franklin doesn't have a great record against top 10 opponents. I think this is his chance to sort of redeem that and prove everybody wrong. And I think a win here all of a sudden puts them squarely as maybe the team to beat this year. So we'll see. That's why I'm excited to see this game.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we've already touched on my top 4. So I'm going to go to my top 5, which happens to be the 5th one on my list, which happens to be we're going to hear it. NIU and Maryland. Yeah, working on that one. Next, number 5 obviously happens to be the next week 6, and I think that's Texas and Florida. And I think because I think highly of this Florida team, I think this is a real challenge for Texas to go in an SEC conference game. This is it's either going to be a 3:30 or 8 o'clock game. We know that, night game. To go into the swamp. Arch Manning's going to have, no offense, Ohio State, but he ain't seen anything like the swamp if Florida's in good position here. That is going to be an exciting game to watch and to see how Arch handles that. That, to me, is going to be just a great atmosphere. Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, 2 future NFL quarterbacks. What an exciting matchup. We don't get that very often. Two quarterbacks the NFL scouts are drooling over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That'll be a great game. I'm excited for it. Hopefully DJ's still healthy. But
just saying, we're going to be there. We are. We're already got tickets.
Yeah. So we are actually the Hoppy Huddle. I was debating on whether or not to say it, but the Hoppy Huddle is traveling on the road to Texas at Florida. We will come to you live from outside the swamp, I'm sure, on the Instagram page. So that'll be something. We are going on the road a lot of weeks this year. And so
we got some interesting matchups lined up. Now, the other game that I'll throw out, which I think is really interesting, is number 6 on my list, is that same weekend, week 6. And I'm not going to be able to watch it. Well, we might. We may find a hotel somewhere. And this is this will come up your alley, Jake. You did not tell me about this. I will say this. I think Kansas State and Baylor is going to be the Big 12 game of the year.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a good one.
And that's at Baylor. I think to me that's an appealing matchup because I think those are the 2 best teams in the Big 12, and it's at Baylor, and I think that will go a long way to determine the Big 12 race. So I'm interested in that game for the season.
Yeah, I obviously am selfishly will be interested in that game, being Baylor alum, but Kansas State will be really good that year. I don't know. It's interesting because Avery Johnson, if he can keep improving, they're going to be extremely dangerous in the Big 12. I think Baylor overall is a little more talented, especially on offense. But the way Kansas State plays, they basically get in the mud and punch you in the face, and they can hang with anybody in the Big 12, and they've been consistently good in the Big 12 for like 20 years now. And they're always a threat. But being at Baylor, that's tough. McLean's a tough place to play at. So yeah, that'll be a good game for sure. Didn't make my top 10, but it's up there.
What's next on your list?
I don't think I mentioned Alabama at Georgia in week 5.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That is going to be a game, man. Talk about some pressure. Georgia after underperforming. They won that, did great, but they did not win in the playoff against Notre Dame. And Alabama, Georgia also lost to Alabama last year. So, a little revenge spot maybe. Alabama trying to get some more momentum after, some disappointing losses last year, but they did beat Georgia. So they're kind of in interesting places as programs. Kalen DeBoer still trying to prove that Alabama is still in that top tier, and Kirby, it'll be interesting to see. Alabama's defense is very talented. It'll be interesting to see how Gunnar Stockton and that offense do. They've got a lot of transfer receivers coming in. They could be really good, but they could not be. That's the kind of thing you don't really know. They will have great tight end play again. And they've got a couple transfers on the O-line as well. So I'm interested actually to see that Georgia offense versus that Bama defense, even though I think the reverse matchup will also be good.
Yeah. I probably didn't have it on my list. I just have Alabama, Georgia fatigue, so that's probably why it wasn't the most interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, fair, but it is going to be a huge game.
Yeah. Now, my next, so I've only got 2 more games in my top 10, and they're both in week 11. And if there's one weekend that you're just saying you're trying to introduce your new friend who's come from a foreign country and he wants to understand football, you just want to have him sit down for week 7, October 11, and say, pull up the remote control and watch games. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games I can count that are just bangers that day. Absolute, just
read them off to me real quick.
Okay. We have Florida at Texas A&M, South Carolina at LSU, Georgia at Auburn, Oklahoma at Texas, Kansas at Texas Tech, TCU at Kansas State, Arizona State at Utah, Ohio State at Illinois, Indiana at Oregon, and Michigan at USC.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sit there, you just get a bucket of wings, some cold ones, and a remote control, a couple of TVs, and you don't move all day. Now, 2 of the games that I have in my top 10 for the year are that day. And you're going to laugh which one. One of these is South Carolina LSU, because I think one of these teams both these teams, South Carolina's getting a lot. I know you're laughing. South Carolina's getting a lot of preseason hype. And I think this game may eliminate one of those teams from that preseason hype.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you who it's going to be. And they don't play in Death Valley.
Yeah. And then the other game I'm really interested to see is I'm interested in Ohio State and Illinois this year. Illinois is getting a lot of preseason hype. This is their toughest game of the year. Based on how they finished, this is a game that Illinois could surprise Ohio State.
Yeah, now who's running propaganda for the big conferences?
I sound like a Big Ten homer now, don't I?
Illinois is going to surprise this year.
Hey,
okay,
they
buddy.
beat the car out of South Carolina last year in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's, Georgia, there's some other Oklahoma, Texas is going to be that day.
That's the one on my list from this week. Oklahoma at Texas.
I told you
Oklahoma at Texas. It's the the Red River Shootout in Dallas.
Yeah. But there's a lot of good Big 12 matchups that day that may go a long way in deciding that conference. I mean, that day is just week 7 is awesome. I mean,
you're right. Week 7 is awesome. I'm excited for Oklahoma, Texas, because I think, unlike last year, I think it will be really competitive. If everybody stays healthy, I think Oklahoma's offense is much improved. I think Oklahoma is one of the few defenses that Texas will play that will actually have a chance to stop that offense. Yeah. They're built like it on the line of scrimmage. That's what some people don't think. Some people still have the picture of the Lincoln Riley Oklahoma in their head, where they're kind of softer on the line of scrimmage, but elite outside on the skills. Venables, Oklahoma is huge in the trenches. They've got beef, and With improved offense, Texas, obviously all the talent in the world, nothing needs to be said more about Texas, but that matchup just is so exciting for me because the winner is going to be cruising in the SEC and the loser is going to be just crushed.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be it's a great week. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, it was really hard to pick these games because I honestly think I could go each week and pick a couple of games.
I still got two more.
Okay, give me your two more. Give me two more.
So my two more are Penn State at Ohio State in Week 10.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I think there is a possibility that Penn State does beat Oregon earlier, being at Penn State, long travel, a lot of stuff. I think there's a possibility both teams could be going into that game undefeated. No, not guaranteed, obviously. This is Week 10, losses happen. But that could be huge and could, decide who gets into the Big Ten championship. And could James Franklin break the Ohio State streak in that game? This is maybe his best team since the year they won the Big Ten. What was that? 2015 now?
2015, 2016, yeah.
16 maybe? 16.
Somewhere there, yeah.
So I think, Ohio State obviously is going to be, great this year. I think that's just an intriguing matchup from all the angles. Franklin maybe try and break in that streak of top 10 losses. Be interesting. And then the last one, you can't have a list of the year's best games without the game in Week 12. Ohio State at Michigan. Michigan, 4 in a row now. What?
That's Week 14.
Did I say 12? That's 14.
You said 12, Week 14.
Yeah, my bad. Week 14. Last week, rivalry week, Ohio State at Michigan. What else do you really need to say? Michigan's won 4 in a row now. Ohio State did win the national title last year, but what they didn't achieve was beating that team up north. And by this point, I think there's a good chance Bryce Underwood is playing for Michigan the last week of the season if he doesn't start Week 1, which we think he might, but it's not guaranteed. You never know how some of these coaches do these QB battles. I think that'll be fascinating. Can Ohio State break that streak this year? This seems like it might be the year to do it, even though it's at Michigan. You never know. And that'll always be a good game, and anything can happen in that game, as we saw last year with the planting the flag. And if Ohio State wins, they try the same thing. Is there another fight that breaks that? You never know what'll happen. So that is also on my list.
That's good. Those are good games. I mean, and our chat is saying, what about Army Navy? Yes, always a classic game, but it's kind of standalone. It's not going to affect the playoff race. We respect the Army Navy game. It belongs in its own special category of we respect the troops. So
yeah.
No, there's so many good games. Like I said, I had 66 games I want to watch. Obviously, I can't watch them all. I will certainly try to. I just bought another TV to add to the collection the other day, just so I could watch more games. I think my wife's going to disown me at some point. But no, man, we are fired up. I mean, just looking at these games, I'm so excited for the season. And you just realize how short the season is. You start looking at the weekends, you start doing some math, and you're like, man, it's September, October, November, we're done. And then we got to deal with NBA and, NHL for 7 months. I mean, we need more. I mean, college football, we can't
be bemoaning college football being over when it hasn't already started. Get that pessimism out of here, man.
It goes by so fast, but I do love it. It's coming soon. And it's just gonna be a great season. I mean, we're gonna have there's a lot of great quarterbacks. I mean, I'm looking forward to talking about how good a quarterback play we're gonna get in Big 12. We've got SEC finally with some decent quarterbacks out there after a year of which they were below standard. We've got Big Ten now, second straight year national champions. Are they the best league? We got a lot of great storylines coming in here, and it's going to be a great season. And we're going to be here the entire time covering it. Our second straight year of the Hoppy Huddle. We're going to be kicking off the first week of August. We'll be starting we're going to take a break here for a couple of weeks. And then we're starting our conference previews the week of August 4th or 5th.
And we're going in depth in the conference previews this year. I have got a notebook full of notes. I've got a little cheat page on every team. I've combed my preview magazine. I'm sure y'all have as well. we're going in depth for the conference previews this year, and boy,
We're
it's going to be.
We're gonna do a podcast we're gonna do 2 podcasts for each of the major conferences, and that'll take us all the way up for about 4 weeks until week 1. So yeah, we're gonna have plenty of content in August. So be ready for it. We will break it down. We will be your number one source for common sense college football.
2 episodes per week, a reaction and a preview show.
Ed, most look forward to UVA game this year. That's interesting. Man, I guess it's the game that the game which Tony Elliott finally gets fired afterwards is probably the one I'm most looking forward to.
It's not happening this year.
But I'd like Coastal's going to be one. They got to beat Coastal. Come on, can we at least beat Coastal? Because it would just be embarrassing if we didn't beat Coastal. I don't know, though. With everything that's going on right now at UVA, I have no idea if they'll even fire Elliott this year. I kind of did run through their schedule the other day. And, again, I haven't finished all my analysis yet. But you're looking at what, 4 wins, 5 wins max? I just don't see more than that. I don't see the talent upgrade to get to a bowl. I just don't. Now, I'm not done with that was my first run through on the ACC. I always kind of go back and reread things, but you got to get Coastal, man. You got to get Coastal and make it even have a chance. So
yeah, and I kind of agree with that. Just a quick hit on some games that missed the cut for me that I really am also super interested in. I think the Palmetto Bowl, Clemson, South Carolina, could be really fascinating last week of the season. Thank you. The voice of the voiceless. Appreciate that.
Sure.
I also think, like we mentioned, Baylor Auburn, week 1, fantastic. Notre Dame Boise State will be a really good game, in my opinion. I'm excited. I think Notre Dame obviously will be the huge favorite there, but that'll be really fascinating. You don't see a lot of teams schedule Boise State in the good teams in the Power 4 for obvious reasons, and so I'm interested in that game. Bill Belichick going to Clemson, North Carolina at Clemson. That'll be fun for storyline purposes. Michigan at Oklahoma, same similar thing. It's funny we've got Ohio State, Texas, and Michigan, Oklahoma in the same. They're like swapping rivals in the early part of the season there. I think you also have Georgia Tech, another game on rivalry week. Georgia Tech almost got him last year. Could they get him this year? Haynes King's back. Georgia Tech will be a fun team to watch for sure.
They lost a lot. They lost a lot of the offensive line. They lost tight end.
They
lost Singleton. I'm concerned that Haynes King is awesome. I'm just concerned there's not a lot around him.
Well, I'm not retconning anything. That was on my list already. Don't be besmirching my integrity. I follow the G5 more than Dad does. He knows this.
Yeah, I know he does.
No, but
if UVA doesn't get into the SEC or Big Ten soon, they may be an FCS team.
I think they'd probably lose in the FCS.
CUSA's coming soon for them. There's a spot now in the CUSA.
Can't spell UVA without U, and can't spell CUSA without it either.
No.
There's so many good games. It'll be interesting again to see what some of these teams are.
I think I'm looking forward to the Big 12 race this year. I think it's wide open. I think a lot of things could happen. I mentioned see how Arch Manning performs. I think if he's just adequate, there's so much talent around Texas. I think all eyes are on Texas this year. We got a lot of storylines. We'll get into those in August, but we're looking forward to the season starting. But we're going to take you got the new intro today, but we'll be back up and running here full steam here in a few weeks. So.
Yeah. And hey, for everybody watching live and in the chat, we appreciate you. Thank you for being our loyal viewers. Always throw stuff in the chat. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. If you ever want to call into the show and be a guest, shoot me a DM. We'll work it out. Make sure to like and subscribe on all the platforms, follow on the socials. The podcast is taking off. We're getting 1,000 views on our Instagram reels. Like, this is huge. We're making moves. So appreciate all y'all for tuning in and being our loyal viewers.
So we're excited. Season's getting ready to start. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and we'll be back soon.
All right. Thank you all. Good night, America.
Good night, Zoe.
Who's Zoe?
Zoe's one of Juliana